This is RTP. This is RTP180.
Okay, I'm in a unique position here today because I'm the last person between you and the bar. So I'll try to use my 5 minutes wisely here. I want to talk to you a little bit about how myself and many clients that I've worked with over the years, doctors, medical device inventors, and medical device salespeople, how we've worked together to accelerate medical device innovation from this early concept to a commercial device. I want to tell you a little bit about my background and what brought me into this. I love designing medical devices. It was one of my internships in college. And I knew right then that was something I loved to do. I love to know how these devices affect patients' lives and how they improve the lives of family members. And I had an experience where my niece utilized a device to cure or to improve her infection. And so it was something I developed with another member here in the crowd, Andrew. But Andrew DeMeo and I worked on a project, and I have a photograph from my sister where this device was used on my niece. So it really kind of impacted me personally. Another kind of impact early in my career, I developed ear curettes. And those are just simple devices to clear the earwax out of your ears so you can see and diagnose ear infections. But I had my first child, and he had a fever. We went into the doctor's office, and the pediatrician looked in his ear and said, "I can't see very well. Let me pull the drawer open, pull this plastic stick out, and clean his ear out." And it was a device I developed 5 years prior. So these are the things that impacted me. These are the reasons that I do what I do today. So I wanted to tell you today about a few stories of inventors, a few stories of clinicians, people who saw problems and wanted to do something about it. And I was in the fortunate position to be able to help them solve that problem. So this first one is a doctor here in town. He's a dentist. He has a practice, and in all dentistry they use a lot of lidocaine, and they need to numb a tooth or numb the patient so that they can do a procedure, drill, extract, whatever they need to do. When you inject the patient with lidocaine, they usually walk out of the room. It takes 15 minutes, it takes 30 minutes in some cases. For some patients, they never get numb with that first dose. And so this doctor wanted to find a way to speed up the onset of anesthesia. Also, if he could find a way to reduce the sting and the pain of injection, that would be a positive benefit as well. And so there was plenty of research that said if you can buffer this drug, if you can mix a base with this acid and bring the drug to body pH, you can speed up the onset of anesthesia. So he had a great idea. He said, if we develop a new drug, we have an electronic mixing device, we can improve the delivery of this medicine to patients. And so what we were able to help with this physician do is, first identify that, well, a new drug, this is going to take you 5, maybe 7 years, and that's best case scenario. If we can use some existing drugs in the market, mix them with a device, perhaps we can speed up the delivery of this solution to the market. And so we developed a way to mix the drug and to speed up the onset of delivery. So instead of 15 or 30 minutes, now it takes 2 minutes. The patient doesn't feel the sting of the acid going in the gums because it's body pH. And so the entire experience has improved. So in this case, we launched it in about 14 months instead of 5 or 7 years. And we found a simpler way. We also helped them obtain patents for this and to streamline that regulatory process to bring it to market. Here's another example of a product. In this case, it was a medical device salesperson who said, I'm seeing, when I'm in the operating room, I'm seeing physicians using very expensive bone substitutes, perhaps from cadavers or biological materials, and they mix these bone substitutes with bone cement so that it promotes bone growth during cervical and spine procedures. It was this person's theory that if you could extract some of the bone, because we drill in the spine, because we need to put screws in there, and if any of you have drilled in your drywall, you know that there's all this dust laying on the floor after you drill into the wall. And he thought, all we're doing is we're pulling this away and it's ending up in the suction canister in the corner of the room. If we can hold on to it and put it back in the cement, perhaps we could improve the patient outcome and eliminate the need for this expensive bone substitute material. So that's exactly what we did. 12 to 18 months later, we launched this product. Surgeons are using it. They're eliminating the need for this bone dust because these devices collect in line that bone dust, allow the surgeon a method to extract the fluids, blood, and so forth from the procedure, and then put that dust, that bone, it ends up kind of being like a bone paste, back into the cement so that the patient's healing and their own tissues grow into the structure of the implants and the hardware that the surgeon installs into that procedure. So we're saving money. In this case, this inventor now has launched his company, much like I suspect many of the folks in the crowd today. You're here because you perhaps are entrepreneurial, you want to launch something on your own. So these examples that I'm sharing today are stories of people who went out on their own and they did this, and sometimes it just takes a little bit of help, and that's what we're able to provide for them. This third and last example is an example of a product that improves the lives of spinal cord injury patients and spina bifida patients. So many of these folks have the difficulty in voiding. They don't have control of their own bladder. We all think sometimes opposite. I can't control it, mean I have to go. The natural body function is for it to be closed and you can't open it. So in the case of a spinal cord injury patient, they need a way to relieve themselves of terrible outcomes, obviously. But in the case of, a very personal function like going to the bathroom, being able to do it on your own is something we all learned really early in life. But for a spinal cord injury patient, they lost that ability. And so in this case, our customer came to us and said, here's a product that is used and is usable for something like 70% of the patients. And it really is only you can only self-catheterize really some small fraction of the time. But if we can come up with a way to make it easier for the patient to self-catheterize, that would be of great benefit to these patients. And by the way, this has to cost less than, say, 10 or 15 cents. So we had a challenge, right? Yeah. In this case, we accomplished it happily. We added an internal device with this little simple feature that is a one-way advancer, so you can feed the catheter out, but it doesn't retract. Who here has tried to put the drawstring back into your sweatpants? That's a lot like putting a catheter in. So if you can keep it going one way, that's of great benefit. The other thing is, if you're a spinal cord injury patient with some hand function, you still have limited hand dexterity. So we added an external gripper to the device so that you can, with very limited hand dexterity advance this device. So for about 15 cents, we were able to expand the use of a device like this and bring a lot of dignity back to this important patient population. So this kind of summarizes my discussion. Again, 3 stories about how we brought simple innovations of medical devices to improve patients' lives. Thank you.